Bienvenidos a ¿Qué pasa Polk? Yo soy Anita Rivera y hoy vamos a empezar a revisar todas las actuaciones de nuestra comisión del condado en su última reunión este 26 de enero. Así, con un periodo de 4 a 1 voto, el Consejo aprobó un acuerdo interlocal con la ciudad de Winter Haven que dará lugar a la anexión de la ciudad de los bienes de propiedad del condado dentro del área de Legoland, Florida, junto con su anexo del resto de la propiedad del parque. El comisionado Hall votó en contra. En agosto pasado, la Junta también aprobó la compra de 1.2 millones de la antigua sala de exposiciones del Festival de Citrus en Cayville Avenue en Auburndale como una nueva ubicación para el supervisor del condado de Polk de las elecciones y su centro de operaciones. En esta reunión, la Junta, con un 4 a 1 voto, la Junta aprobó la primera adenda al gerente de construcción en riesgo, autorización con Roda Construction en garantizado precio máximo de aproximadamente 1.7 millones para esa renovación y sus instalaciones existentes. El comisionado Bell votó en contra. La Junta también aprobó un acuerdo de $422,000 con Wallace Murphy Boynton Arquitectos Incorporado para los servicios de arquitectura y ingeniería para el nuevo edificio de servicios y sus operaciones. La Junta también aprobó la recomendación del Comité de Selección que autoriza al personal a negociar un acuerdo con Roda Construction en el desarrollo del sitio y la construcción del nuevo edificio. El financiamiento proviene del Fondo Programa de Inversión, Utilidades y Comunidad. Al igual, la Junta aprobó un contrato de servicios de atención primaria con el Central Florida Healthcare Incorporated para miembros no Polk Plan de salud. Central Florida Healthcare trabajará para disminuir el asentimiento sala de emergencias local por la ciudad de los pacientes mejores servicios en un entorno de atención primaria. Este programa es para los residentes del condado de Polk cuyos ingresos no superan el 200% del nivel federal que constituye en pobreza, que no tienen otra cobertura de seguro y no califican para el plan Healthcare Polk. Los servicios se prestarán en los lugares Dundee, Frostproof, Lakeland, Mulberry y Winter Haven, con una apertura de su nueva oficina en Lake Wales a finales de este año. El financiamiento proviene del Fondo Healthcare Indigentes. También la Junta aceptó una subvención de $100,000 en infraestructura de defensa del Departamento de Oportunidades Económicas para adquirir terrenos dentro del rango zona amortiguamiento Avon Fuerza Aérea en su parque como parte del sur del lago Walking Water, tierras ambientales y proyecto. La Junta aprobó un acuerdo de servicios de consultoría con URS Corporación Sur de Servicios de Diseño de Ingeniería para el proyecto Avenida Norte Wabash. El proyecto será de $125,000, incluye la ampliación de una parte del norte de Wabash Avenue desde la autopista US 92 a Crutchfield Road y otras mejoras viales. También la Junta aprobó 2 acuerdos separados con Cuestas L. Dumont, empresa de prestación de servicios de suministro de productos químicos de blanqueo y para la compra y servicio de inhibidores de corrosión de la División de Servicios Públicos. El condado de Polk se Cuestas fuera del acuerdo de Tampa Bay Agua para servicios de suministro de químicos con los términos que terminan el 31 de diciembre del 2017 y tendrá cuestas fuera del convenio Ciudad de Zephyr Hills para la compra y servicio de inhibidores de corrosión con los términos que termina el 26 de julio del año 2020. Al igual, la Junta aprobó una resolución en la creación de la Autoridad de Autopistas del Condado de Polk. El órgano rector estará formado por 7 miembros con derecho a voto y un miembro sin derecho a voto, que sería el secretario del Departamento de Transporte del Estado de la Florida y su distrito. 2 miembros votantes serán nombrados por el gobernador, sujeto a la confirmación del Senado, y cada comisionario o comisario se nombrará un miembro de votación. La Junta también aprobó una resolución estableciendo lineamientos de política para muelles y otras estructuras colocadas en o aproximadamente que no están mantenidas en los parques públicos y plateados. Y en otras noticias, Dr. Joy Jackson dio una actualización sobre la evaluación de salud del condado de Polk. La Junta también de los comisionados del condado se enorgullece de emplear a más de 1,900 personas, muchas que han pasado la mayor parte de su carrera con el gobierno del condado de Polk. En esta reunión, la Junta reconoció a Bobby Bond de la División de Bomberos durante 20 años de su servicio y a James Conine de la División de Servicios Públicos durante 30 años de servicio. Carrera Fuente Polk, presidente, y CEO Stacy Campbell Dominic y presidente de la Junta Katrina Lunsford presentaron la actualización trimestral. Y en las audiencias públicas, la Junta aprobó una resolución de desocupar porciones plateadas y sin mantenimiento de los derechos de vía, resaltada en amarillo, ubicado en el barrio Sanitaria en Urbandale. Y por último, la Junta volvió a nombrar a Jonathan Fleming como el miembro suplente de la Junta de Ajuste para un mandato de 3 años que terminará el 6 de diciembre del 2018. Así que eso es todo hoy por nuestras noticias de nuestra última reunión de la Junta, pero tenemos más que vamos a presentar aquí hoy en ¿Qué pasa Polk? Así que no se nos vayan.
Lava tus manos, utensilios y superficies de cocina con agua y jabón. Este año, 1 de 6 personas en Estados Unidos se enfermará por comer alimentos contaminados. Visita foodsafety.gov/español.
Hola, ¿y cómo estamos? Y gracias por regresar. Hoy vamos a hacer nuestro programa en inglés porque tenemos con nosotros un invitado que se llama el señor Mark Scolnick de la agencia de SCORE. Welcome to Que Pasa Polk, Mark.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for stopping by today. Our county is growing and a lot of things are changing, and if you're someone who wants to start a business, always come and get that business for free from people who can mentor you, who have been tremendous business owners themselves. Yeah. So tell me, where are you originally from?
I'm from Massachusetts.
Ah, okay.
In case you couldn't catch.
Yeah, can you catch a little bit?
A little bit. And the joke I tell is that I came down here to start an English-speaking school because there are too many R's down here.
And how about, do they ever ask you, so what do you say, car?
Car.
Yeah.
Yeah. I parked the car in Harvard Yard.
Oh my God. So when did you come down to Polk County?
7 years ago, and I snowbirded for 3 years, and it's coming up to 4 years full time.
Okay.
All right. What I did is I had a list of what I wanted in a new community, and I took my RV and I went around Florida. And I came upon Lakeland, and I fell in love with it, and I called my then girlfriend, now wife, and I said, come on down.
Come on down.
And within a week, we were all set.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell our audience, especially those who think that they know what the process is of how to start a business. What is the major component of mistakes that young business owners do? Meaning, well, it has nothing to do with age. I'm talking about a first-time business owner.
New and repeat. It's interesting you say young, because we have several people who have been in business who are going into another business. In fact, we have a push with SBA for those people who are retiring, 50 and over, and AARP, to start a business. Whenever you start a business, whether it's your first time or your 10th time, planning is the most important thing. I have a client that I'm working with, and they're talking about the build-out, which is building out for their retail establishment. And I said, well, you need a budget. And whatever your budget is, you need to double it. Because that's been my experience and everybody else I've talked to. No matter how good you think you are, you need to double it. But those are the tricks that we use. We set up, there are several kinds of business plans that you should have. And one of them in the seminar we put on for your members was the one-page business plan. So if you're not seeking financing, and it's a working document, a lot of people put together these enormous business plans. I know somebody, and he was trying to start a business with some other people, and he put together I think he said 100-something page business plan, and I just shook my head because it's not a working document. We're practical people. We want to show you how to do it. One of our thoughts, especially around here, is we would rather tell you that's not a good idea. You have a very slim chance, if any, of making it, save your money, and come back with another idea. We're all of us in this chapter, now the national organization doesn't want us saying that, but we do. And we say it consistently to people we feel don't have a good chance. We may work through everything with them to show them the process so that they can self-realize that. I don't say, don't do it, Anna.
Don't do it.
All right, that's not the way we work. But we'll show you by going through our process that maybe this isn't a good idea, and we ask questions. I had a client once say, gee, you gave me all these wonderful ideas, but you didn't tell me about them. You said in the course of conversation this, this, and this. And I thought that was a compliment because that's what we try and do.
Awesome. So besides, when you start, let's say I call into your office and I set up an appointment with you.
Right. Actually, we prefer to go online. And use, and we're trying to stop. We have a manpower. Success is hurting us. We have a manpower problem manning the office. So you'll get an answering machine, but if you go online, you can, the Central Florida SCORE, which is in the back of the card, you can sign in and, excuse me, and then we will contact you. All right?
So then let's say an appointment does get set up, and I come with my own idea of how things need to be, and I know exactly what I want to do, how I'm doing it. And I'm sure that when I sit down with you or one of the other mentors, you guys bring me down to earth and tell me, okay, Anna, great, but this is what you need, really.
Well, if you start with the process, the planning process, that happens automatically. We'll say, well, what's your budget? What do you think? What do you think about that? Why are you doing that? And it's most of the people that have mentored me ask questions. They don't give answers. So that's the way, and that's what drew me to SCORE, because we basically do the same thing. Have you thought about this? Have you talked to the zoning people? I mean, we have a relationship with the city of Lakeland, with their building department, so that we know the people to send them to. We have the zoning map that keep you out of trouble. There are people that have come to Lakeland, and I'll use that as an example because that's the best, although we serve Polk, Hardy, and Highlands counties, that start a business and they do start construction, and before they know it, the building inspector has put a cease and desist order on their program. That shouldn't be. that shouldn't be, because that meant the person didn't do their homework. It's not about banging their nail, it's about thinking where the nail should go.
So what have been the worst things that have happened besides a cease and desist on someone's business when they're starting?
Well, that is the worst thing.
That's
because
the worst.
what you've done is you've signed a lease, you've given the landlord money. You may or may not have had somebody draw up plans that may or may not be the right person, so you've paid them. You have building material, whatever your other business was or your other job, you probably quit it to do this.
Wow.
So here you are, you're stuck, and you can't go any further because you didn't do the permits and follow the process.
Okay.
All right? Everything has rules, and if you don't follow the rules, you get in trouble.
Has anyone ever come to you with no budget at all?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Most everybody comes, and that's part of what we help them do.
Okay.
We'll say, well, here's a form, go on the website, go on our website. Most banks now have a business plan module that you can go into under their commercial. It's really not rocket science, but it's from A to B to C to D. We'll make it. So that gives you a 70% chance of success as opposed to a 90% chance of failure.
Lo que está diciendo, nos está diciendo ahora mismo Mark, es que muchas de las veces nosotros nos creemos que sabemos todo y empezamos un negocio y a veces la ciudad viene y te cierran la puerta porque no has pasado lo que tienes que pasar con los certificados, las licencias, las ordenanzas, no has pasado las cosas como debe de hacerlo, así que ponga mucha atención a lo que él está diciendo ahora. También cuando te estás planificando para la empresa, necesitas tener un plan y tener también un budget. Necesitas saber cuál es el dinero que tú tienes disponible. So, en eso vamos a seguir un poquito más. So, when they don't have a budget, and they start using credit cards, and they start using their savings, and they start using monies that they borrowed from someone else, and they start taking money from the business, you know, I have to give myself a salary because, you know, I just quit my job. What do you say to people when they do stuff like that?
Let's sit down and review this and see what's going on. Cash is the most important thing that business owners need and have. Any of us that have been in business know that you can even make money on paper and not have enough cash. And if you watch TV programs like Shark Tank or The Profit, you'll see that there are people who have successful businesses that have outrun their cash. Either they have receivables or they have inventory, and I mean, that doesn't mean they're bad, but cash is king.
I think a lot of people, especially like either in retail or people who have beauty salons, we were just talking about that before we had the show, they have actual inventory, which that inventory is their money. It's tied up on that shelf.
Yes.
And if that's not moving at a turnover, because when you come from retail, and I come from retail,
obviously,
you know, I can't have that rack of clothing there for more than 2 weeks.
Right.
My turnover rate, according to the company that I work for, is not happening. So what is my alternative? Well, number one, I start marking down the merchandise.
Right.
Number two, I have to start, you know, advertising. And number three, then I made a bad bomb purchase.
Right.
As a buyer, I was not frugal. I just went nuts. I said, oh, this is great, because I bought for myself. And that's something that I learned as a kid when I was telling you when my parents had the grocery store.
Right.
They have inventory by the ton load, and you see what's on the floor, and then you go into the back, and you see the same merchandise repeated in their back stock. And I'm like, okay, so something's not working out here, because if I've gone by here 3 weeks and that same rack is in the window with the same outfit, same price, they're not reacting to it. So I'm sure that these kind of things you also
we very much, because a business plan is not just the budget, it's a marketing plan, it's a plan dealing with every facet. We talk about accounting systems because you need to know where you stand, you need to be able to pay your taxes, you need to be able to do all of these things. So happens I have 2 sons and they're both buyers. They've been buyers for linens and things, and H-E-B in Texas, and, and Dollar Tree, and CVS, and Staples, and we talk. And it's interesting because they're not always successful in what they buy or what they think, and sometimes I get products to try, and I give a report. So
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So besides the business plan, what other?
Well, a marketing plan, and then there's one client that I'm working with, and she had an idea for her store, and we talked about the size. We talk about every facet. It so happens that she's in want to go into a specialty business, and she joined a trade association, and those are always valuable. Trade association, and they put her with somebody who just knows that business, and sold her a notebook that thick.
Wow.
And we put the SCORE materials aside, and we're just using those materials because they're specific to her. To her.
Awesome.
And it's just super. So
I see here you gave me some statistics from 2014 that new businesses were over 56,000 businesses that started, which obviously generated over 47,000 jobs.
That's a nationwide score.
That's a nationwide score.
And then locally
we have 71.
71 with 22
jobs created.
And then, but you'll see that 30-odd% of those were people who are already in business, because SCORE is for the life of your business.
No, that's good for you to say, because I know sometimes when you do, you start a business, eventually you start molding other businesses inside of that business.
Right.
So let's say if I started just as a coffee house, and all of a sudden now I want to start selling wine and beer and that in a coffee house. So obviously I have to go after an SRX, or so I have to get my liquor license for that. So that was not money that was in the original business plan.
That's
so
right.
They have to go back and renew that or review it.
When you're in business for yourself, you can either do that and be lonely, or you can have outside help. And I found as my business matured and I used up what knowledge I had and intuition, I needed to have other people who were outside the business give me a bird's eye view, and I had some people that I would take to lunch or have coffee. Well, you don't have to find those people. SCORE can do that for you.
Oh, good.
So we can, and some SCORE chapters in different parts of the state have developed actually ex-CEOs of large companies, and they set up an informal board of directors as well. Awesome. So we can help people with that, and those are for larger companies. But I have a client now who's been with me for 4 or 5 years. So he's past startup.
Wow.
Now he's reinventing himself again, but he's past startup. And we get together once or twice a year,
nice.
and so he's not lonely.
Good.
He's not lonely.
Well, he obviously understands the importance of the services that he's gotten through SCORE, and he appreciates that. And those are the kind of people that, for me, are true success stories. And how many of the businesses that you would say, let's say that percentage-wise, do not make it because either they haven't followed the true formula, or they never considered the formula?
90% of the people that go into business don't make it past the 5th year.
What is the #1 component of that?
Cash. And that's a result of poor planning. I had a CPA friend of mine years ago that tell me the 3 to 5 years was it, because you run out of cash and you stop thinking that the dream is going to happen, that something magical is going to happen. and I'm a grunt. I've always been the worker. So, you know,
you have some.
I'm not brilliant, so I worked real hard. 12-hour days are not unusual.
Do you also, Mark, give advice on people who are considering franchises?
Yes.
Okay. How would a franchise work versus something, you know, a startup, regular startup?
The benefit of the franchise is that you have a program already set up for you.
Okay.
So they have the format, and you have a way of doing it, and it is easier, and there are benefits to franchise. Most franchise companies, if they're any good at it, won't just take your check and give you a franchise anymore. Mm-hmm. They want to do a personality profile of you.
Ooh.
Now, this is a good thing, because they don't want Mark, because I have the money to buy a franchise, come in and say, oh no, I'm not doing it that way, I'm doing it this way, and this is the way, this is better, your way is no good. And I go to an area franchise meeting and I say the franchise company's no good, and you know, everybody gets upset, and that usually ends up in some kind of lawsuit.
Oh God.
So almost everybody in the franchise business doesn't want that anymore. What they do is they give you a personality test. They want to see what you're like, and if you match, because they've done this with their high performers, if you match the high performers. If you don't, they may not sell it to you.
Okay.
All right?
That's
and that's
good.
a very good thing, because it's more important. I had somebody that owned a bank tell me it's more important to say no than it is to say yes.
You know, we have a small slogan in our chamber, and it's all about the brand.
Right.
And I had a lot of people always asking me, what does that mean? I says, well, it not only lends itself back to our logo, but it lends back to your brand, and how you have to really coddle it, protect it, because you don't want anything negative attached to your brand at all.
That's right.
You could be selling just cell phone covers,
right,
and you're the best one in town,
right,
but it's because you've really cultivated and protected that brand. And so I keep on telling them that, and obviously the SCORE brand is something very important for us. So I want to thank you. Please, how can they contact you?
The best way is to go to our website, Central Florida.
Okay, Central Florida. centralfloridascore.org, así que pueden visitar al centralflorida.org y ahí pueden ya matricularse, buscar la información, y alguien de la oficina de Mark los llama para hacer una cita. Esto es muy importante. Él le acaba de dar las cifras de los tipos de personas. Está aquí en escrito. Estas son cifras válidas, que cuando tú tienes una idea para un negocio, porque ese es el sueño americano, the American dream, tener tu propio empresario. Pero si no sabes qué pasa, vas a tener que cortar la cinta porque vas a tener que cerrar. So please visit centralfloridascore.org and get connected with Mark and his team there so that you can have a very successful business, either today, tomorrow, or maybe 20 years from now. But you need to start planning, and you start planning ahead and planning the right way. So that's all today for Que Pasa Polk. Así que I want to thank Mark for coming on board today. And pequeño, mediano o grande, small, medium or large, SCORE is for you. Chao, nos vemos en la próxima.